Good afternoon, everybody. It is March 3rd, 2025. We are a couple months now into the new Trump administration, Trump 2.0, and every day it gets a little bit more disastrous. So, as usual, we're going to be covering some of this stuff today. In fact, we've got Trump apparently favoring Russia. Shocker. We have and actually a lawsuit from the Democrats actually trying to do something. Oh wow, that's interesting. It's over some of his illegal executive orders. We also are going to talk about Bernie Sanders versus Elon Musk. That's fun. Uh, we have more fun, including Republicans literally running away from their constituents. I gotta love that. We all love that. And then, of course, we are going to talk about the third way. They're back, and they have a plan to beat Republicans by becoming Republicans. I kid you not. You're gonna hate that story. Um, we'll get to it at the end of the show, but first, I do want to thank everybody for joining us live here on the live stream, and those of you, of course, who are also listening later on to the podcast version. That's on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. If you want to help us out, you can go there. You can sign up and support independent progressive media. Obviously, we need your help more than ever. So, with that said, why don't we dive in here to the first pressing story here, and that is Trump, Ukraine. Here we go. Oh, lovely, lovely. Um, President Donald Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, believes that only appeasement shall end the disastrous invasion of Ukraine.
What I'm saying is this war needs to end, and that's going to take concessions on territory. That's going to take Russian concessions on security guarantees. That's going to take all sides coming to the table.
You just mentioned a specific concession potentially that you would like Vladimir Putin to make. Can you elaborate on that? Because we haven't heard any specifics before.
Well, we can't get any specifics from the Ukrainians, but this will clearly be some type of territorial concession for security guarantees going forward.
Wait, but yes, of course. The Ukrainians must give up land to the Russians, specifically probably the mineral-rich Donbass region, as well as territory, to perhaps create a land connection to Crimea. And what do the Russians give up? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, but we got to give them up so they can have a security guarantee so that they won't continue to bomb the hell out of Ukraine. That doesn't sound like a great deal. And yet Trump and Vance, I don't understand why Ukraine isn't thanking us and taking the deal. I don't understand. They must really love war. No, it's literally the Russian position. Okay, right down to the talking points. Okay, look, I want the war to end. All right. That said, giving over territorial concessions to an invading power is nothing but appeasement. Has that ever really worked to ensure a lasting peace? No, it has not. Okay, look, I don't want to be funding this war forever. Obviously, nobody does. I support negotiation. I support diplomacy. Negotiation, however, does not mean total and complete capitulation to invaders. Okay? And that's what land concessions are. They are capitulation. Now, as far as security for Russia, I mean, you kind of effed that, all right? When you, invaded Ukraine, forcing the Ukrainians to rely on NATO. Okay? You basically pushed them into the arms of the West. Congratulations, dummy. All right? I'm just saying. So, now that said, do Americans support Russia? You're going to be shocked to find out, no. I know. A recent poll conducted by CBS News and YouGov found that while a slim majority, 52%, backed Ukraine, only 4% backed the Russian position. The rest didn't support anyone. Not my problem, they're saying. Okay? That said, there are a lot of people that do think that Trump has favored the Russians. Shocker. About 46% said that Trump's actions and statements have favored Russia, compared to 43% who believe that Trump has treated both sides equally. This was before, by the way, this poll was taken before the Oval Office meltdown. Okay, so I'm gonna bet that after that, people who've seen it might be like, yeah, no, I really do think that he is not trying to treat both sides equally. Only 10% think that Trump has sided with Ukraine. Okay, that said, and again, this is before the Oval Office blowup. 51% of Americans did approve of Trump's handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, compared to 49% who do not approve. Why is that? Well, it's because people, by and large, don't want to get involved in proxy wars. Okay, so yeah, we don't want to get involved. Makes sense. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to get involved. Okay, I don't want to be involved. I don't want there to be a war in the first place. But you know, that's kind of Russia's fault, as in Russia's fault for invading. Yeah. Look, now that said, funny enough, there's a lot of Republicans that seem to have a pretty favorable view of Russia. 41% of Republicans consider Russia to be an ally and to be friendly to the United States. Why is that? Right-wing media. It's right-wing media. Look, since 2016, the Russians have been doing social media that targets mainly Republicans, right? And look, you know, you even had Tenet Media literally paying Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and others to do what is essentially pro-Russian talking points. So their internet game, real good, okay? Now, that said, right, you have Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, that is dismantling our cyber security measures against Russia. So, okay. Look, the result here is you've got a pro-Putin Republican Party, okay? Not pro-peace. So that's the big difference, right? Because, again, Russia is invading their neighbors, okay? And yet, these Republicans are still like, why are you pro-war? We're not pro-war, we're pro-peace. Russia, get him! Get him! That's not a pro-peace position. No, that's ridiculous. There's nothing peaceful about invading your neighbors, okay? But that said, it's pro-Russian. In fact, you had a Kremlin spokesperson admitting that Trump's foreign policy goals, quote, largely coincide with our vision. What vision? As far as I can tell, full Russian control over at least the 5 Ukrainian regions that it has so far annexed. Okay? On Thursday, spokesman Dmitry Peskov ruled out any negotiation over the status of those regions, despite not fully controlling 4 of them. Peskov's comments followed similar remarks by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov a few days prior. Wait, who wants the war to continue? Who wants the war to continue? Because Ukraine's just fighting back, okay, against Russian aggression. And so, you know, you've got these, and you've got the Russians that are like, we will not negotiate, okay? We come in, we take territory, we keep territory, everybody win. No, no, not everybody win, okay? No, that's not good. That's not peace. That's and literally handing them over is just appeasement. And I do think that giving Russia everything they want in exchange for promises of peace, that's not going to create peace. It's only going to embolden more war. And that's not what we want. I mean, look, the best way to end the fighting is to have Russia end the fighting. I don't know how we get to that point. Maybe then, maybe they can work out some mineral deals, okay? It's something that could benefit both countries economically. There's got to be something that they can do, right? But unfortunately, right now, because it would be so damn embarrassing for the Russian government, Putin is refusing to do that without gaining full control of these territories, which of course leaves a whole lot of people in Ukraine and Europe in a real bind. Because I do not believe that Ukraine is going to give up and agree to these concessions, and neither will their allies in Europe, which means that, under the so-called peace, loving President Trump, this war will continue until Russia gets everything that they want. So, yeah, disastrous. All right. Moving on. The Democratic Party is attempting to fight back against Donald Trump's executive order, eliminating the independence of agencies and placing them under the direct control of the executive branch. Now, obviously, people are understandably concerned. Okay, you're eliminating the independence of these agencies, placing them under the direct control of the president. These are agencies like the FEC. Okay, the Federal Elections Commission, which Congress established in 1974 to enforce federal campaign finance law. You could put that in the direct control of Donald Trump, who received $277 million from Elon Musk? Oh boy. Now, the lawsuit filed Friday by Elias Law Group on behalf of 3 national Democratic committees challenges Trump's executive order 14215, which is intended to ensure presidential supervision and control of the entire executive branch, basically making this guy a dictator. Yeah. This is Project 2025, Unitary Executive Theory, okay, which aims to bring all of these independent agencies into the executive branch and make them answerable only to the president, as he would be able to control who runs them directly, okay? Now, in a lawsuit filed on Friday, the plaintiffs argued that Trump's directive violates the Federal Election Campaign Act and undermines the FEC's bipartisan structure, established to ensure impartial enforcement of federal campaign finance laws. So now I've talked about the FEC before and how the structure itself of having it be bipartisan, unfortunately, has made it to where the FEC is essentially toothless, right? They're not doing anything because half of the FEC doesn't want to do any campaign finance law. I think that a good way to, try to have campaign finance laws again be enforced is that instead of having it bipartisan, just be completely independent, right? And so, no, you're not going to stack it with people from one party that's going to make it so that you can't do anything, okay? No, you have to have people who are independent of the political process be involved there instead and make decisions based on the law. And that's really it. So, yeah, it needs to be fixed. What Trump is going to do is he's saying, no, we're not going to fix it. We're going to break it even more. We're going to stack it with my handpicked political, appointees, okay, that is going to let me get away with everything I want while weaponizing it against Democrats. Because of course, right? Now, they argue in the lawsuit that if this order is allowed to stand, the president, through coercion or direct control, could affect the FEC decision-making to his party's benefit. Quote, the extinction of the FEC's independence and replacement with the president's decree severely harms plaintiffs by placing the head of the opposing political party in charge of interpreting campaign finance law for the executive branch. Yep, exactly. Look, This whole thing, okay, not just the FSC, but all the other agencies, right? This is all part of his power grab. Okay. Now, the precedent here is not in favor of Trump's actions. In fact, you had past decisions like Humphrey's executor v. U.S. The Supreme Court actually did their job. They prevented presidents from firing members of independent regulatory bodies like the FEC. That said, Trump now has a very friendly conservative Supreme Court. These are activist judges, okay? And so you got people like Russ Vought, okay, the other Project 2025 guys that are like, oh, yes, please take it to the Supreme Court so that we can win. Huh. Gee, it's almost like the Supreme Court is corrupt and broken. So now, not only would this help erode the independence of other agencies, but also allow Republicans to do corruption on a massive scale, as if they're not already doing that, right? Without the FEC, okay? And again, as I mentioned, it would allow them to use the FEC to weaponize it against their political opponents. Oh, it looks like you are corrupt over there. You Democrats. You have taken money from I don't know this and this, and we have just deemed that to be illegal. What? So look, this is one of the many lawsuits that's going on right now. So it's not like they're not doing anything. There are a lot of challenges to these executive orders. Some of them have been successful in blocking Trump's agenda, at least temporarily. Good. Now, in fact, a federal judge recently ruled that Trump had exceeded his authority last month by firing the head of the Office of Special Counsel, a key federal whistleblower agency. In fact, D.C. District Court Judge Amy Berman Jackson Saturday ordered the Trump administration to recognize Hampton Dellinger as head of the OSC. Okay, and ruling in Dellinger's favor, the judge cited Humphrey's executor v. U.S. So that's going to come up a lot. Okay, the judge wrote, in sum, it would be antithetical to the very existence of this particular government agency and position to vindicate the president's articles to power as it was described in Humphrey's executor, a constitutional license to bully officials in the executive branch into doing his will. The Trump administration, of course, argues, that 1978 law, which created that position in the first place, unconstitutional. Really? Everything that you're doing right now is basically unconstitutional. All these executive orders. You want to argue what's constitutional or not? Come on. Now, they have also asserted that the president should have the authority to fire Dellinger without reason whatsoever. Okay, but under the law, the president is prevented from removing the special counsel for reasons other than inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. They couldn't come up with any of those things, and they're just like, you know what? Don't care. I'm president. I can fire whoever I want. Great. So now, that said, the court finds that the statute is not unconstitutional, and it finds that the elimination of the restrictions on plaintiffs' removal would be fatal to the defining and essential feature of the Office of Special Counsel, as it was conceived by Congress and signed into law by the president. Its independence. The court concludes that they must stand. So Trump's sitting there trying to reorganize the government into basically, no, I'm the president, which means you do everything I tell you. I am a king. I am an emperor. I am dictator for a day. Except it's not going to be just for a day. Okay. That's it. All these independent agencies that could check me in my power, I got to get rid of them. Well, that ain't right. And it's definitely not constitutional. Now, Dellinger's case is significant in part because it was the first to go before the Supreme Court, who last month did punt on the Trump administration's challenge to Judge Jackson's temporary restraining order that first halted Dellinger's dismissal. So, maybe there's hope. I don't know. Not only that, but a federal court ruled last Thursday that the government's Human Resources Office had unlawfully exceeded their authority by ordering agencies to fire thousands of probationary federal workers earlier in the month. Judge William Alsop's ruling was in response to a lawsuit filed by a coalition of labor unions and organizations challenging a February 14th memo sent by the Office of Personnel Management, directing federal agencies to separate probationary employees you have not identified as mission critical, which I'm sure, they think none of you are mission critical because we don't believe in the mission. So we're just going to get rid of everyone. That's what they think, right? And of course, in order to justify these firings, they're like, wow, poor performance. Well, everything is poor performance if you hate their entire job that they do. So, yeah, maybe that's how they try to justify it in their minds. But in reality, there is no real justification for these firings. Plaintiffs argued that they were carried out based on these lies, and Alsop ruled the Office of Personnel Management does not have any authority whatsoever under any statute in the history of the universe to hire and fire employees at another agency. Damn, I love that. Now, that said, on this one, Alsop does not have the order or the authority to reinstate those employees, unfortunately. Nor can they, of course, bar the agency heads from dismissing employees in the future. His ruling does say, though, you can't just be ordered to fire people by the OPM. This ruling by Judge Alsop is an important initial victory for patriotic Americans, said Everett Kelly, the national president of the American Federation of Government Employees. Across this country who were illegally fired from their jobs by an agency that has no authority to do so. So, look, that ruling, these are some good rulings and good cases, but that shouldn't be the entirety of resisting against Donald Trump. Okay, there should be multi-pronged, defense of not only our, democracy, our system of government, but also these court cases, protests, like the ones outside of Tesla, all this stuff. And there should be maximum resistance by the people, okay? And I think as this goes on, that's going to happen. But until we get there, here are some wins, some examples of wins against what Trump is trying to do, which is, again, not just to be a dictator for a day, but for the rest of his life. The Jedi Protector with the super chat here says a lot of the GOP seems to be under duress with the MAGA base, but when any of them do town halls, there seems to be no MAGA, only normal citizens. Yeah, that is interesting. You know who else wasn't at all these town halls? Secret Democrats. But they claim that. So, but thank you for that super chat. All right, let's move on to Elon Musk versus Bernie Sanders. Billionaire Elon Musk is getting pushback for calling Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. Here he is talking about that on Joe Rogan's podcast.
You can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so, well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments.
So in there, he admits what he thinks is the problem, right? Man, people are living too long. Go die sooner. Oh, and by the way, before you do, have a ton more babies. All right, that'll fix the problem. What? No, no. The problem here is that you got some BS. All right, well, that's a lot of BS. Calling it a Ponzi scheme, for example. Remember, a Ponzi scheme is basically an investment, fraud. Okay, that ends up with little or no legitimate earnings and tends to collapse after investors cash out. Okay, Social Security, nowhere near that. They've never missed a payment since their inception. Okay, in 2023, around 71.6 million people received benefits from programs administered by the SSA. And they've got a pretty damn good track record of making sure that people get the benefits that they're earned. Okay. Now, that said, he talks about, we got the debt obligations and stuff. No, that's all crap. But there is an issue with not having enough funding, okay, for Social Security. You know what? Could be remedied simply by what? Raising the cap or eliminating it on the billionaires who are paying to the fund. Yes, I know people are living longer, and that's because Social Security has actually made sure that people are able to retire and survive. Before Social Security, half of all seniors lived in poverty. As late as 1959, 1 in 3 seniors lived in poverty, and more died in poverty after their savings ran out because they couldn't afford to live. They would die out on the street. Okay? So, yeah, that's why people are living longer. So, you kind of show your hand, right? And you're like, well, I just want to kill grandma and grandpa. Oh, that's it. I mean, we can take away the programs that keep them alive. And because, me, the world's richest man, apparently can't afford to, what? Pay a little bit more in taxes. He gets, so he pays into Social Security, right? It takes him about a half hour, seriously, to pay in to Social Security for the entire year. That's how much money Elon Musk makes. Okay? So it does not take these billionaires any time at all to pay in what the cap is. They hit that cap and they don't have to pay any more. So to see this guy complaining about it, we just don't have enough money coming in. Well, there's a real simple way to fix it. Okay? And for that, we go to Bernie Sanders for his reaction.
Now, I think what Musk, the wealthiest guy in the world, just said is totally outrageous. That's a hell of a Ponzi scheme when for the last 80 years, Social Security has paid out every nickel owed to every eligible American. Quite a Ponzi scheme. What is in fact a problem is that if we don't make reforms and improve the funding mechanism, in the next 9 years, the Social Security Trust Fund, which provides about 20% of the funding, will go broke. So what we have got to do, and I think most Americans agree, and I've just introduced legislation to do that, is you lift the cap on taxable income. Right now, Musk, worth $400 billion, contributes the same amount into the Social Security Trust Fund as somebody making $170 million. You lift that cap, we can extend the solvency of Social Security for 75 years, and you can raise benefits.
I mean, again, this guy has been consistently attempting to lift that cap and to increase Social Security benefits. In fact, just one of the bills that Sanders tried to pass just recently was an increase in Social Security benefits that was shut down by Republicans. Because, of course, right? Now, that said, Sanders is not the only one who has hit back against Musk. You have Social Security Works, for example. In their response, they noted that Social Security, which is 90% funded for the next quarter century, hasn't missed a payment in 89 years, and had accused Musk of, quote, defaming the program as part of an effort to cut benefits and otherwise destroy the program. Not just them. You also have Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who wrote on social media that, quote, this guy is a leech on the public. No matter how many billions he gets in tax cuts and government contracts, it will never be enough for him. Now he's going after the elderly, the disabled, and orphan children so he can pocket in tax cuts for himself. It's disgusting. 100%. And then you have Representative Greg Casar, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, writing, a guy who makes $8 million a day off the government thinks senior getting $65 a day they worked their whole lives to earn is a Ponzi scheme. Indeed. Casar then wrote, protect Social Security, fire Elon Musk. Senator Patty Murray also wrote, Social Security is not a Ponzi scheme. It's a promise that every American pays into so they can retire with dignity. Get loud and tell Elon Musk to keep his hands off Social Security. And then getting back to one of Sanders' staffers, Warren Gunnels, who wrote, Elon Musk, the richest man alive, worth $359.4 billion, wants you to work until you drop dead. Social Security was signed into law 90 years ago. It's paid every benefit owed to every eligible American on time for 86 years and lifts over 20 million people out of poverty a year. And you know who hates that? Republicans. They despise it. They do want people to work until they die. And they do that, and they want that because they can use that money to enrich their donors. Donors like Elon Musk, who bought the presidency for $277 million. Now, of course, he's gotten this whole, you know what? It's waste, fraud, and abuse. And the debt. We've got lots of debt, and it's all waste, fraud, and abuse. So we need to go through that. The only problem is that is a smokescreen. It is a smokescreen that these people are using to justify massive cuts to a program that works. And once they're done cutting it, they want to make it so that people would be okay with privatizing it, handing it over to Wall Street, and the super wealthy donors, the Peter Thiels, the tech bros of the world, okay, handing it over to them so that they can control your retirement. Hell no. Okay. It's unsustainable because rich people don't pay enough into Social Security. That's right. All right. Move on. Republican Senator Roger Marshall ran away from a rowdy rural Kansas town hall meeting after being confronted by some angry voters. The legislator reportedly walked out 20 minutes early, supposed to be there for an hour, after labeling the audience in Oakley, Kansas, rude. Oh, you're so rude. You know, this is one of the rudest audiences I ever have. I never in my entire life. How dare you? Well, how rude were they? Well, why don't we take a look at some of this video?
Government is doing right now as far as cutting out those jobs. A huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn shame.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
Well, I yielded to
one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I'm not gonna. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
I don't know. It seemed pretty nice, pretty civil until the guy's like, "Gotta go. You guys are asking me too many hard questions, and I don't like that." Oh, don't ask me about Doge firing veterans. No, I can't do that. Okay, can't do that. I gotta go. I gotta go. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Can't let that happen.
Yeah, ask me hard questions. Can't let it happen. Look, here's the thing. I know Roger Marshall doesn't like being asked questions about Doge firing veterans because that's an uncomfortable question. Okay? And that's what is happening. The federal government employs a lot of veterans. Okay? These are the people that are losing their jobs. Trump supporters are losing their jobs in the federal government. So, yeah, that's an important thing for Trump voters. Now, of course, Marshall, he's going to claim that, you know what, this crowd, these crowds, they're all just paid agitators, troublemakers. Huh. And that's what he said on social media, by the way. And now Trump's saying it too. But let's take a look at, again, more of these alleged Democratic troublemakers and their rudeness.
70% of Americans want us to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. 70% of Americans support doing this. And that we're saving, 70% of Americans want us to save the American taxpayer money and balance the budget.
Nobody disagrees. We all want that, but we don't want an unelected, non-civil servant person in charge of it. And
Well, I think if he goes through the process of vetting, everybody would be more okay with it.
Yeah. So all the people that, all the Doge employees have been vetted. They're employees.
Can you tell us how? Can you tell us that process for vetting them?
They go through the same process that every other federal government employee does. He is an advisor to the president, just like Joe Biden was an advisor to the president. He's an advisor. The rest of those people are employees, and I know you're fed so much misinformation.
The line stops here.
We're eating it up right now.
The line stops here.
The veterans service, I call it customer satisfaction, has gone way down in the last 4 years. That the lines have become longer.
So why are we cutting staff then?
So it's becoming less efficient.
Those are some great moments. Okay. Especially like the ones about, obviously that's a great question about the veterans. Wait, if it's so inefficient, if people can't get a hold of anybody at the VA, there's so many people waiting in line, then why are you cutting funding? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So look, again, these people, sounds like your average regular people, your average voters who just happen to be pretty mad. Colin McRoberts, who drove about 5 hours to be at the town hall, said that Marshall was shocked by the amount of people who decided to show up. It's almost like, people are driven by anger. And when they see things falling apart, when they see people losing their jobs, they're like, what the hell? What the hell, man? What the hell? Yeah. Now, McRoberts said the comment that sent him out of the room was from a gentleman who said, and you heard it in the video, I'm not a Democrat, I'm just worried about veterans. But apparently he's a Democrat agitator. Yes, all those people are. In fact, McRoberts said, it was a surprise to everyone to the point where no one really knew what was happening until he was out of the room. And somebody started to yell, why are you leaving? Where are you going? You got 20 minutes left, man. It was a very quick exit. I love that. Oh, very quick exit. Like, he's like, oh, I gotta go. People are challenging me too much. Now, that said, Rodney Bates, a board member at a local nursing home, said, quote, all people wanted to do was scream at the senator. Now, I don't know if that is pro his position, right? Pro the senator or not. I mean, because it's like, it didn't sound like screaming there, okay? But, that's not the entire video, so let's be fair about that. But certainly, there was a lot of unhappy people at these town halls. And why are so many people unhappy? Because this guy is backing all these incredibly unpopular cuts that is affecting everybody, regardless of who you voted for. This isn't just like about owning the libs, right? A lot of Republicans are totally fine with that. Oh yeah, own the libs, great. Get rid of DEI. Oh yeah, well, we love it. And then suddenly they find out, oh, we're the DEI. Uh-oh. The probationary employees. Oh no, we're probationary employees. Oh crap. Now it's affecting us. The leopards have come for our face. Okay. But to get back to the response here, a spokesperson for the senator claimed, oh, see, this isn't our own voters. No, it's Democrat operatives. Democratic operatives couldn't place Oakley, Kansas on a map before today. Sabotaged the local town hall. Even still, Senator Marshall stayed and answered every question that was asked for 45 minutes, said Brent Robertson, the lawmaker's chief of staff. He still ran out early. Okay, he ran out early. And by the way, it's important to note that Oakley is in Logan County, which voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump with about 85% support. So, yeah, but I'm guessing you're not going to find a lot of Democrat operatives there. I mean, it is absolute projection, right? Look, here's the thing. Trump also, before I get to that, took to True Social early on Monday to claim that troublemakers were being paid to attend Republican meetings. Yes, it's the troublemakers. They're getting paid. They're getting paid by who? I don't know, George Soros or something. Yeah, sure. You know what, though? Hey, if somebody paid me, I'd go. I'd do it. Yes, I've never in my life been offered money to go in and crash Republican meetings. I mean, I don't know anybody who has, okay? No one's been like, hey, by the way, you're going to get some money if you crash this Republican town hall meeting in the middle of Oakley, Kansas. What? I've never seen that happen. I've never heard of that happen. Okay? But I do know that people have been paid to attend Donald Trump events, but not as opposition, but as supporters. As far as I know, though, no one's been paid to infiltrate the town of Oakley. Okay? No, what these are pissed off voters, right? Who see that you're screwing them over. You're not doing America first, right? What you're doing is billionaires first. That's it. Now, look, if the Democrats were smart, they'd be coming up with some messaging, right? And saying, hey, we do care about veterans. We don't want to cut veterans' jobs. We don't want to cut any of these programs. We do want to make government more efficient, which is why we are going to stop, funding people like Elon Musk. We're not going to, do these things at the expense of working people and for veterans, okay? We're not going to do that. But so far, unfortunately, we're not really seeing Democrats take advantage of Trump supporters realizing that the leopards have indeed come to their door. For sure. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer talking, everyone is around. What? Where's my Antifa and Republican town hall check? I know. I want to know. Okay?
I'm not worth your McDonald's money.
Come on, George. Send the checks. Send the checks. I'm looking for work. Okay? Yes, let me go to the town halls. Pay my way. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But speaking of ridiculous, this next story is going to absolutely infuriate you. And it's about what the Democratic Party plans to do. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no!
Bad news. Bad news. As Republican politicians continue to face pushback in their districts over Doge and the massively unpopular cuts, the Democrats seem to be failing to seize the moment. On Friday, for example, the DNC's X account posted a 32-point list about what the Democrats did in February, which included such items as Democrat Ken Jenkins winning a special election for Westchester County Executive, soundly defeating his Trump-backed opponent. Great. Now, by Sunday, that post had been so roundly mocked that the DNC chief marketing officer, Shelby Cole, felt compelled to respond that the, quote, that the template always used to bang for us, before conceding, the internet thinks we are morons this time. Well, it's not 2008 anymore, okay? You might want to try doing something different, maybe doing something that works. And for one, maybe stop listening to James Carville, okay, who said the Democrats need to, quote, make a strategic political retreat. That's right. Donald Trump is assaulting our, way of government, our entire government, okay? And Carville's, advice is, retreat! Retreat! What? He also said, quote, just roll over and play dead. I'm going to give you the whole quote. Allow the Republicans to crumble beneath their own weight and make the American people miss us. Only until the Trump administration has spiraled into the low 40s or high 30s in public approval polling percentages should we make like a pack of hyenas and go for the jugular. You realize the Democrats are at their lowest popularity that they've been in decades. Decades. Okay? People are going to see that the Democrats are not fighting back and think, Democrats are useless. Y'all are useless. You haven't done anything. Why should we care? Why should we care about you guys? That's what this is setting up. And this continues the strategy of, we got to keep the powder dry until Donald Trump messes up. So we just got to let Donald Trump be Trump and don't fight him at all. Wow. Brilliant strategy. Brilliant. This is from a guy who, hasn't won anything since Bill Clinton. His advice is massively outdated. Why is he still advising the party? I have no idea. What is Carville even bringing? Okay, Carville has been just wrong about almost everything. Almost everything. Jesus. All right, but it gets worse. Okay. Those things were only the appetizers. Okay. Here comes the main course, which is a shit sandwich. Okay. See, the plan that Democrats are going to going with to fight Republicans is to become Republicans. I kid you not. According to Politico, in early February, a group of moderate Democratic consultants, campaign staffers, elected officials, and party leaders gathered in Loudoun County, Virginia, for a day-and-a-half retreat organized by Third Way. The retreat resulted in 5 pages of takeaways. Really? So what's the main takeaways here? That it's the left's fault. No, I kid you not. It's the left's fault. Quote, in the wake of the election, where it became so evident that the things that the left was doing and saying deeply hurt Harris and down ballot Democrats, a lot of people are looking to us, not just Third Way, but the moderates in the party, and saying, we got to do it your way because the other way ain't working, said Third Way's Matt Bennett, who helped organize the February retreat. Wait. When did the Democratic Party ever do it the left's way? Actually, I have two examples of that. In 2008, okay, when Obama campaigned on universal health care and getting rid of, closing down Guantanamo Bay. So did it the last way. What happened to Obama? Oh, right, he won and then didn't do any of those things. Okay, what's the other example? Joe Biden in 2020, where he campaigned a little bit to the left. We're going to do, a public option. We're gonna be on the side of the workers. I'm going to campaign with Bernie Sanders, and we're going to get things done. We're going to do student debt relief. Remember that? So that was the other time that they did it the left's way. And what happened in 2020? Oh, right. They beat Trump. Huh. Weird. So, but okay, now they're talking about, well, we want to do it our way now. Okay, well, did it your way in 2016, and we just did it your way in 2024. And what happened in those years? Oh, right. We lost. They lost. Look, Kamala Harris ran around with Liz Cheney talking about how we need to protect freedom. And you know what? We need to get more conservative on immigration. We need to crack down. But it gets worse. Okay, their solutions to get back into power, there's a list of them. Some of them just blew my mind. Here's one of them. The party should embrace patriotism, community, and traditional American imagery. What? Democrats, here's another point, should ban far-left candidate questionnaires and refuse to participate in forums that create ideological purity tests and move away from the dominance of small-dollar donors whose preferences may not align with the broader electorate. Move away from the small-dollar donors, guys. You should do like the rest of us and just take massive corporate donations. Get rid of those small-dollar donors. Wow. Another point they brought up. They said they should push back against far-left staffers and groups that exert a disproportionate influence on policy and messaging. What far-left group is influencing the party? All I see is these third way jagoffs. Okay, those are the ones that are influencing the party. Okay, there's more. Candidates should get out of elite circles and into real communities. Tailgates, gun shows, local restaurants, churches. Now, actually, that's not a bad idea of getting out of the elite circles, right? The only problem is the elite circles are groups like Third Way and the donors. Okay, the massive corporate donors. Those are the elite circles that they should get out of, but won't. Instead, they're like, we should go with go where Republicans are. Oh, okay. And then finally, the party needs to own the failures of democratic governance in large cities and commit to improving local government. So what? You're just basically gonna spout right-wing talking points about California, basically, and New York. Got it. So basically, their solution to how do we win elections is to become Republican light. What? That is what they have done after losing every single election. They kept going right. They kept going more conservative, more pro-donor. Okay? All of this, though, not only ignores the left, but actively punches left, all right? And the goal here is to continue to chase Republican voters, okay? And as we've seen, every time they try to chase Republican voters and donors, I should say, every single time they do it, they end up losing, and their conclusion is always the same. We must go further to the right. The Democrats are never going to learn until all these people are fired, purged, expelled from the party. That's it. Until then, they ain't going to win, and they ain't never going to learn. Jesus. Insane. I can't think of a single Dem to be a good candidate in 2028. Maybe Shapiro. I'm not sold on Newsom. I would actually be in favor of a Tim Walz. Because you know what? Tim Walz was great until they muzzled him. Okay. Now he's out there talking about, hey, in 2028, we can't just go out there and talk about, you know, basically working on the edges of the ACA. We're going to have to be out there talking about universal health care. And so, yeah. So, yeah, let's do that. Have something, you know, again, progressive, populist policies. They're going to do so much better than milquetoast conservative light. Okay. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the super chat, of course. Really do appreciate that. Everybody, please like and share the video, like and share the stream. You know, those of you who have signed up for Patreon, much appreciation to you. Those who haven't signed up, maybe you ought to consider it. You know, might be a good thing to support independent progressive media, because you know we need more of that. We need more of that, and we need less of Morning Joe. Okay, Morning Establishment Joe. So that said, thank you all. Love you all, and try to have a good day, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.